Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, when the body finds stillness and the world around you quiets down, a doorway slowly opens within. In that delicate space between wakefulness and sleep, the conscious mind, with all its judgments, its doubts, its constant chatter, finally steps aside. What remains is the vast and fertile ground of the subconscious. This is the part of you that never sleeps, the part that stores not just memories and habits, but also the hidden codes of your identity. And when you close your eyes at night, you are given a chance to enter this space, to plant new seeds that may one day grow into the reality you wish to live. Most people carry their daily worries into their sleep. They replay conversations, regrets, and fears, unknowingly programming themselves to repeat the same patterns again and again. The subconscious does not judge whether the thoughts you feed it are helpful or destructive. It simply accepts them, like soil receiving seeds. If you bring in fear, doubt, or limitation, the subconscious will nurture those seeds and allow them to grow into tomorrow's experiences. But if you choose differently, if you consciously bring in thoughts of healing, abundance, gratitude, and possibility, then the soil of the subconscious will nurture those seeds instead. In this way, each night becomes not just rest for the body, but an opportunity to shape the future. The power of this lies in the fact that the subconscious mind governs so much more of your life than you may realize. The way you respond to challenges, the way you see yourself, the habits you live by, all of this comes from deep patterns stored below conscious awareness. To attempt change only at the surface, with willpower alone, often leads to struggle. But to work with the subconscious is to go to the root. It is like watering the foundation of a tree rather than painting its leaves. Real transformation begins where the conscious mind cannot interfere. When you allow sleep to become sacred, you stop seeing it as simply the end of the day and begin to recognize it as a practice of renewal. By guiding the mind gently into states of calm and by choosing intentional words, affirmations, or even simply holding a vision before you fall asleep, you are communicating directly with the subconscious, and because it does not tire, because it does not question, it continues to work through the night, reorganizing, healing, and aligning your inner world with the seeds you have sown. This is why the hours of sleep hold such profound potential. It is not just about resting the body, but about opening a channel into the deepest part of yourself. Every night becomes a quiet initiation, a journey into the hidden layers of being, where you are not only restored but also rewritten. What you choose to bring into that sacred space will echo back into your waking life, shaping your thoughts, your actions, and the life you are creating. There is a subtle moment in the transition from waking into sleep, when the rhythm of the brain shifts, as if the waves of the mind soften and begin to flow more slowly. In that state, the frequency of thought no longer runs with the speed and agitation of daily life. Instead, the mind sinks into what is known as theta, a space often associated with deep relaxation, meditation, and the dreamlike realm between consciousness and unconsciousness. This state is not random, nor is it insignificant. It is, in truth, the natural gateway into the subconscious, where lasting change becomes possible. Most of the day, people live with the conscious mind steering their decisions. They think, they analyze, they judge, and they plan. Yet, beneath the surface, it is the subconscious that determines the patterns of behavior, the beliefs about self, worth, and the lens through which reality is perceived. And while the conscious mind is powerful, it is also resistant. It argues, it doubts, it questions. To bypass this resistance is to enter theta, where the guard of the conscious mind lowers, and the subconscious becomes receptive like open soil, awaiting the touch of new seeds. In theta, the imagination becomes vivid and emotions are felt deeply. What you envision here does not remain as a fleeting thought, but settles into the deeper layers of being. This is why intentional practice before sleep holds so much influence. When you hold a vision of abundance, when you affirm healing or cultivate gratitude as you drift into rest, these impressions bypass the noise of doubt and flow directly into the subconscious. The mind accepts them as truth, and from that truth, it begins to reorganize your inner world to reflect the outer experience. This process is not forced. It does not require effort or struggle. The very nature of theta is surrender, and ease of being where the barriers dissolve. Many people chase transformation with intensity, but transformation flows most naturally in the quiet moments of openness. As the body softens, as the breath deepens, and as awareness slips gently into stillness, the subconscious listens. It does not argue, it simply receives. In this way, the moments before and during sleep are sacred opportunities. They are a bridge between the known and the unknown, between the self you have been and the self you are becoming. To recognize this is to reclaim the night as a time of creation rather than just rest. Each evening becomes a ritual, not only to recharge the body, but to reprogram the deepest layers of mind with clarity, intention, and vision. Theta is the language of transformation. It is the state where the seeds of change are planted quietly, without resistance, and nurtured by the silence of night. By stepping into it consciously, you allow life itself to reshape you from within, so that what you awaken to in the morning is not simply another day, but another chance to live as someone renewed. The weight of the past often lingers far longer than we realize. Each word spoken in anger, each regret left unresolved, every doubt that whispered in the quiet of the night, they leave impressions on the mind and heart. Many people carry these impressions unconsciously into their sleep, wrapping themselves in the heaviness of yesterday and unknowingly awakening to repeat the same story again. What is left unexamined becomes a cycle, and the cycle continues until one decides to release. To release the past is not to deny that it happened, nor is it to erase the lessons it has given. Rather, it is to recognize that clinging to its pain and its limitations is a choice. The past no longer exists in the living moment. Only memory keeps it alive, and memory is but a shadow. When you lie down at night, you are invited into a space where shadows can dissolve. The body relaxes, the breath deepens, and the mind begins to loosen its grip. In that loosening, there is an opportunity to let go of the burdens you no longer wish to carry forward. Imagine placing each regret, each heavy thought, like stones at the edge of a river. As you prepare to sleep, you set them down one by one, trusting that the flowing water of the night will carry them away. In doing so, you make space. The subconscious does not create from what has already been released. It creates from what remains. If the soil of the inner world is full of old debris, there is no room for new growth. But when it is cleared, even slightly, fresh seeds can be planted and nurtured. Releasing the past allows the subconscious to reprogram itself without interference. It prevents the old stories from being repeated, and instead opens a path for new possibilities to be written into the script of your being. The emotions of fear, guilt, or shame have a way of looping endlessly when carried into sleep. They sink deeper, reinforcing the very patterns you wish to escape. Yet, when you choose to let them go, even just for one night, the subconscious can begin to reorganize itself around freedom, peace, and renewal. There is a softness in surrender, a gentleness in choosing to no longer fight with what cannot be changed. The past cannot be rewritten, but the meaning you give to it can transform completely. In this transformation lies freedom. And each night as you close your eyes, you are given the gift of stepping into that freedom once more. Letting go of the past is not a one-time act. It is a practice, a continuous releasing that becomes lighter over time. With each night that you choose to free yourself from yesterday's weight, you awaken to a tomorrow that is not burdened by repetition, but alive with new possibility. To rest in this awareness is to honor sleep not as an escape, but as a sacred reset, a doorway through which you step unbound, ready to create anew. Healing has never been about force. It is not about pushing, not about demanding, not about controlling the outcome. True healing begins in the moment of surrender, in the moment when the need to fight dissolves and a deeper trust awakens. The body is not your enemy, it is your ally. Every cell within you carries the intelligence of life itself, an ancient wisdom that knows how to restore balance, if only it is given the chance. Sleep becomes the most natural gateway into this process, because in sleep the effort drops away, and the body is allowed to return to its own rhythm of renewal. So many people approach healing with tension. They want results quickly, they want proof, they want to be in control of the process. Yet this very resistance becomes the obstacle. To heal is to let go of the belief that you must hold everything together. It is to accept that there is a greater intelligence within you, one that does not need your constant interference. Think of a cut on the skin. It does not heal because you stare at it or demand it to close. It heals because you step aside and allow the body's wisdom to do its work. The same principle applies to the deeper layers of mind and spirit. When you drift into sleep, the conscious mind releases its grip. This is the moment when surrender naturally occurs. Muscles soften, the breath slows, thoughts fade into silence, and in this quiet surrender, the body begins its work. Cells repair, the immune system strengthens, and the mind reorganizes itself. What may seem to you like unconscious rest is, in truth, a sacred workshop of healing unfolding beneath awareness. The more you trust this process, the deeper it works. Trust is the bridge between desire and manifestation. To trust is not passive, it is an active allowing. It is the choice to believe that life is always moving toward balance, always seeking wholeness, always guiding you toward harmony. By holding onto this trust, even as you sleep, you amplify the natural intelligence of your body and mind. Surrender is not weakness, it is not giving up, it is opening up, it is softening the walls of resistance that keep you bound to pain, fear, or illness. When you surrender, you are no longer fighting against yourself, you are aligning with yourself. Healing then becomes not a battle to be won, but a homecoming to the natural state you were always meant to embody. Each night offers this gift. As you let yourself fall into rest, you are reminded that you do not need to carry the burden of fixing everything. You need only to trust, to allow, and to surrender. In that surrender, the body repairs, the heart softens, and the spirit begins to glow again. Healing comes quietly, like the breath, like the tide, like sleep itself. It comes not through force, but through the gentle power of letting go. Abundance is not something to be chased. The more one runs after it, the more it seems to move further away, like a horizon that cannot be reached. True abundance is not an object, nor a prize waiting at the end of endless effort. It is a state of alignment, a natural flow that becomes available when inner resistance dissolves. To align with abundance means to open yourself to the truth that life itself is already abundant, and that this abundance is not outside of you but within you. Sleep becomes a powerful bridge into this realization, because in sleep the noise of striving fades, and what remains is the quiet rhythm of being. Gratitude is one of the simplest doorways into this alignment. When you enter rest with a grateful heart, you communicate to the subconscious that you already live in abundance. Gratitude does not come from lack, it arises from fullness. Even the smallest recognition of what is already present, the breath that sustains you, the body that carries you, the shelter that protects you, plants seeds of abundance in the subconscious mind. As you drift into sleep, these seeds sink deeper, and the mind begins to shape itself around this vibration. Vision is another key. Before sleep, when the subconscious is most open, holding a clear and heartfelt vision of the life you wish to live imprints it deeply. You are not simply wishing, you are rehearsing a new reality. The subconscious does not differentiate between what is vividly imagined and what is lived. It accepts both as truth. So when you go to bed envisioning wholeness, prosperity, and joy, the subconscious accepts this as your state of being and begins to align your inner world with that reality. Abundance does not arrive as a sudden gift. It unfolds as a reflection of inner alignment. When you align with gratitude, vision, and openness, you begin to notice synchronicities in daily life. Encounters feel timely, opportunities present themselves, and pathways open where there were once walls. These are not coincidences. They are reflections of the frequency you have chosen to embody. Sleep plays a vital role in this process because it allows the subconscious to continue cultivating this alignment without interference from the doubts of the waking mind. To align with abundance is also to let go of fear. Fear contracts. It narrows your perception and blinds you to possibilities. Abundance, on the other hand, is expansive. It widens the lens through which you see, and suddenly life reveals opportunities that were always present but unnoticed. Each night, as you surrender to rest, you are offered a chance to release fear and invite expansion. When you awaken after such a night, you feel lighter. The world feels less like an obstacle and more like a field of possibilities. You move with a quiet trust, and this trust itself becomes magnetic. Abundance flows not because you forced it, but because you aligned with it, and in that alignment, life naturally gives. When the body falls into deep rest, a profound transformation begins to unfold beneath the surface. What may seem like simple unconsciousness is, in truth, a sacred journey of renewal. The cells quietly regenerate, the nervous system recalibrates, and the energy that has been scattered throughout the day begins to reorganize itself. Sleep is not merely the absence of waking. It is a process of remembering wholeness. Each night offers the possibility of returning closer to balance, closer to alignment, closer to the true essence of being. The subconscious mind plays an essential role in this transformation. While the conscious mind drifts away, the subconscious continues its work tirelessly. Every impression, every seed planted before sleep, is tended to in these hours of rest. If you choose to fall asleep with intentions of peace, gratitude, or healing, these intentions are not lost, they are absorbed. They shape the landscape of your inner world. You admire the ones who sacrificed, who endured hardship for something greater, and act upon waking. What you feed the subconscious before sleep becomes the framework for tomorrow's reality. There is also a mysterious intelligence within the body, one that modern science has only begun to glimpse. The body knows how to heal wounds, how to fight illness, how to restore energy. This intelligence is amplified during sleep. Stress hormones lower, tissues repair, and the immune system strengthens. By surrendering to rest, you are not being passive. You are allowing the body's deepest wisdom to express itself fully. In that surrender, renewal becomes natural, effortless, and complete. This transformation is not limited to the physical. The spirit, too, finds space to reconnect during sleep. The weight of the day lifts. The identity tied to roles and responsibilities fades, and what remains is pure awareness. In dreams or in the silent spaces between them, glimpses of clarity emerge. Sometimes they are forgotten upon waking, but their essence lingers. an unexplainable peace, a quiet sense of direction, or a subtle lightness in the heart. These are signs that the night has done its work, that you have touched a deeper layer of yourself and carried it back into waking life. By morning, you are not the same as you were the night before. You may not notice the change immediately, but it is there, a subtle shift in perception, a clearer energy, a quieter mind. With time, these small shifts accumulate, and what was once a life heavy with repetition and limitation begins to open into flow and possibility. Renewal is not always dramatic. Often it is gentle, gradual, and deeply steady. To honor this nightly transformation is to approach sleep not as an end to the day, but as a sacred practice. Each night holds the possibility of rebirth. Each morning offers a chance to awaken not only rested but renewed, aligned, and ready to create life with greater clarity. Sleep, then, is more than rest. It is the silent foundation of awakening.